Hello, welcome back to my organic kitchen. I have to apologize to the Instagram followers. For some reason I couldn't go live today, so I will post the video later in IGTV. So welcome to all the Facebook followers. You know that if you miss out the class at the moment, I always put the video later on my YouTube channel, and obviously it stays in my profile. So we're here to do the second part of our healthy chicken nuggets, and I'm going to show you the things that I've got ready for today. So if you follow me yesterday, because we're working with chicken and we're going to be slicing it, even though I love working on my wooden chopping board, which is my most favorite one, to disinfect this one takes a long time. So when I'm working with chicken or any type of meat, I like using these plastic boards, even though I'm not a big fan of plastic, but these ones can go in the dishwasher and they're really handy. You can reuse them all the time, and when you put them in the dishwasher, they get completely disinfected, or you can wash them at a really high temperature on your sink. So what we have today, I've made, I'm gonna be moving the camera. I've made a production line here. Bear with me. So I've chosen a spelt flour because that's the one I like using the most. That's going to be the first coat. I've got eggs. As you know, I like using Hoover Ranch eggs because they're local, they're organic, and they're really fresh and really beautiful. And then I've got my breadcrumbs. I actually have made this fresh a moment ago because I make most of the time my own bread. I always, not homemade bread goes hard very easily because there's no additive to it. So what I do is I put it in a paper bag, in a bag, or I wrap it in a cloth, and it keeps like that. It doesn't go off. And then I just put it in my blender. I've got a Thermomix, which is my only food processor. So I have listed 10 seconds on a speed 8, but just any food processor. And let me tell you a story. When I was little, my husband is watching and he's asking me if this is for dinner. No, this is for lunch actually. Let me tell you a story. Now that we are all at home with our children and we will hear, "Mommy, I'm bored." Well, when I was little and I said, "Mommy, I'm bored," my mother will give me a bag full of dry bread. She will give me one of these and give me a big bowl, and I will be grating bread crumbs freshly for a long time. And believe me, I found it really enjoyable. So that's something that you can do. But if you do that, be always very careful to give the kids a really big piece of bread and be very aware of what they're doing, because grated can be really sharp. There's also gloves that they sell out there that you can use for them. So this is our production line, which is what I said to you the other day. I just forgot one thing. I forgot the herbs. I haven't got any Italian herbs because I use Herbamame that lovely Sarah brought me from Canada. So thank you, Sarah, if you're watching me. I really hope I can get one soon, because here in the Bay Area where I live at the moment, it's not available. So before we start, I have washed my hands thoroughly, but I'm going to disinfect them. Now, for those of you who live in Pleasanton like me, here in the Bay Area, I've been contacted by a company called Dr. Bright Naturals, and they are offering delivery of hand sanitizer. So check them out, Dr. Bright Naturals in Instagram. and you can get some hand sanitizer, because I know the shops practically don't have any. Okay, I've got a strainer and a bowl, and we're gonna get, this is our chicken from last night. It's been 24 hours. I've got 3 whole chicken breasts here, organic of course, and I had them overnight soaking. There's a cup of milk and the juice of a whole lemon that we did yesterday, for those of you who follow me. So we're going to get this chicken out of here. I'm just going to do one breast, because you'll get really bored if I do the whole thing here. So I'm just going to strain it a little bit, and we're gonna pat dry. I've got a piece of kitchen paper ready, and we're going to pat dry, just to take a little bit of the excess of the milk and the soaking liquid. So we put it here. I'm gonna put this back here. I've got a very small kitchen, but this is what I have, and I hope what I'm doing is being helpful for you. I can already feel how tender the breast is. Okay, so we can just put it on the board, and I might just pat dry in the middle a little bit. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to wash my hands, because I just briefly touch the chicken. I'm washing my hands. And I got a brown, clean cloth to start the class. If not, please use paper towel. And I'm just going to give you a basic knife skill indications. So the perfect way, or the correct way to hold your knife when you are going to cut or slice or chop. So imagine, everybody knows the emoji OK sign, right? So these 2 fingers will pinch where your blade meets the handle, and the other 3 fingers are going to grip. That's what we call pinch grip. And now you have full control of the knife. You can teach this to your children. It will be really easy for them to remember the OK sign, pinch grip. And with these, you can be sure that the knife is not going to move. And one thing that I always say is your eyes have to be on your knife when you're working, chopping or cutting or something. It's something that you can always remember. So if someone talks to you and you are cutting or slicing or chopping, anyway, working with a knife, please put your knife away, pay attention, then go back, or simply tell them, I'm busy, come back later. All right, so we've got the chicken breast here. The first thing we're going to do, you see this part over here? I'm going to be playing with the camera, so bear with me. This is the chicken tender. So we're going to cut that. We're just going to cut that. And I think we can either do the whole thing, but chicken nuggets tend to be a little bit smaller. So I'm going to cut it in half, and just see how I have sliced it sort of diagonally. That will make it even more tender. Now with the whole breast, we're going to start for the thick part, and we're going to be slicing this way. That way it's going to be much more tender. And you just make it doesn't have to be perfect. These are not store-bought. These are homemade. And you want them to be, they don't have to be perfect. They're just going to be delicious. They're healthier, cheaper, and better than the store-bought. The most important thing is that you know what it goes in there. It's very important that we teach children where food comes from. So when we all are allowed to go out, and the good weather, at least here in the Northern Hemisphere, comes, if you have the opportunity to take your children to a farm, do it. It will be so important for them to know where food comes from. Right, so we're gonna start, we've got the chicken completely sliced. I'm just going to put a little bit of herbame over it, not much. This is a really great product, but you can use some natural chicken salt. Please make sure it is natural. A lot of the chicken salt that they sell out there have got a lot of chemicals, so make sure you read it, or simply just use some salt. Now I asked you for the herbs, the Italian herbs, to put in the egg. So we're gonna start. Now if you want this to be gluten-free, instead of using a normal gluten flour, I would advise you to use cornstarch or corn flour. It works actually really well. That will be your gluten-free option, or you can just use any gluten-free flour that you have at home. And if you want to make it vegetarian, for vegetarian, I'm going to advise you to use zucchini. So I haven't got one to show you because I want to concentrate on the chicken nuggets. But what you can do is just get a zucchini, you cut it the long way, at about a finger thick. I think it's about a centimeter, about half an inch. And then you do the same process that we're doing here, your flour, your egg, and your breadcrumbs. And if you want to make it vegan, leave the eggs and substitute that for a plant-based milk that you use. And that will be. Now, following the gluten-free, that I jumped to the vegetarian and vegan option, you can use any breadcrumbs. There's breadcrumbs out there that are gluten-free that you can buy, or simply, if you've got gluten-free bread at home, let it dry out and then make your own, just the same way that I make this. So we're gonna put a little bit of flour in the first bowl, and we're gonna put a little bit of breadcrumbs. And now, if you didn't see my class last week when we make the jam cookies or jam biscuits, I'm gonna show you what's the best way to crack an egg. I have shared in my stories today when is the next when is the next time that you can get eggs available. And I think Hoover Ranch is going to start making home delivery soon. I really hope, because they're very good, and now I'm finding really difficult to get them. I might get this closer so I don't have to move this. Oh, bear with me. All right. Okay. So the best eggs have got this beautiful shelf that protects everything that is inside. So during the winter times, I actually don't put the eggs in the fridge, but always follow whatever the grower tells you. Don't follow what I'm saying. I'm only talking about my experience. So I find that during the winter period, I don't put the eggs in the fridge. In the summer, yes. In the winter, no. And they're always nice and fresh. And when you're gonna cook, no matter what you're gonna do with the eggs, please make sure they're at room temperature. So you know that they're much easier to work with. So anyway, going back to the shelf, protects everything, and there's also a membrane that keeps this shelf together. So if most people crack the eggs on the edge of the plate, if I asked you, you probably say, oh, I'll do it on the edge of the plate. Well, what happens is that you will break it too fast. And if there's any bacteria, for some reason on that edge, that bacteria is going to go into your egg. So the best way to be much safer is for you to break it. You don't want to break it, you just want to crack it. So you just have to pay attention to the noise. Did you hear the difference? So I haven't broken the egg, it's just cracked. And now we just break it with our fingers, because we've got clean hands. Always clean hands when you are working in the kitchen. And I'm going to clean my hands again. And now is where you will put your herbs. So if you're using the Italian herbs blend that I asked for when I post that I was going to be doing this class, this is the time for you to do it. I'm going to put plenty of herb on there because I want to have a lot of flavor. If you like spices, you could put a little bit of spices, even a spice blend, a Moroccan, a Mexican. Just give your chicken nuggets any flavor that you like. But as a base one, this will do. I know we're going to need more egg, but I'm only going to be making one breast. I don't want to be here for an hour or more because you're going to get really bored. And I know people are busy because the children are having school. So I might start doing these classes in the afternoon when children finish their work. But I would like to hear from you what you think. You can add a dash of milk in here as well, and it gets a little bit lighter, and that works really well. Now, when you are making this sort of production line, what you want to achieve or what you want to do is only use one hand for everything. So you don't have two hands are dirty. So if you need to do something, you've got one hand that is clean. So I always use the right hand because I am right-handed. But I know that I can always have the left hand ready to use at any time. So I've got two trays here ready. This one is to go in the oven. Now these chicken nuggets will be baked. You need your oven at 200 Celsius or 400 Fahrenheit. And we're going to bake them for a total of 15 minutes. But after 10 minutes, you're going to flip them all around. And we're just going to, if you have a spray, an oil spray, that works really well. Or just simply brush. But make sure that on the parchment paper or baking paper or wax paper, whichever way you call it, you brush some oil so they don't stick. So this is the first thing I'm going to do now. I'm not going to bake them yet. You're going to do that on your own time. I'm just showing you how to get them ready, because for me this class is for you to make the most of the time that we are spending at home, to find something to do with your family. This is really fun to do. So what I would suggest you to do is you place one person in each of the stations. So you've got a person doing the flour, one person doing the dipping in the egg, one person doing the breadcrumbs, and one person putting it on the tray or tray. Because I've got a second tray here. Now this tray, I can fit it in my freezer. I'll put some parchment, baking or wax paper, again whichever way you call it. I buy this brown one because it's unbleached and it's more natural. And it can go on your green waste or on your compost later on. I'm going to show you how to freeze. So you can use this later whenever you need it. And I think it's a really good opportunity for you now to go and make a big batch. That's why I went for 3 chicken breasts, because I know I'm going to have enough to eat today, but I also going to have enough to put in the freezer for later use. And I tell you what, we're going to be out of home soon, hopefully. Let's all pray that this is going to go soon. And when we finish and we go back to our normal lives, we're going to be really busy. So it's stock up your freezer, get ready, and then we can get outdoors. And this is a great picnic food for you. And you know, if you've got an excursion or if you're going, you know, somewhere for a day. So let's start. So we're going to do a little bit of flour first, not too much. Some people don't do the flour. I still like it because I feel the flour soaks up the egg much better. And I use a fork for this. so it doesn't get so, you can do 2 at a time, 3 at a time. And then we're just going to put some breadcrumbs in here. Imagine I'm using old bread that I've made myself, and also bread that sometimes I buy bread. Don't think that I make it all the time. I do when I have time, but not always. Now, you can have a second dip if you want to have more, if you want it to be more crumbly in the outside, but I just like it simply like this. So for the baking one, we're gonna put it this way. Now, because we have spread some oil, we don't need to put oil on the pot. We will brush, or we will spray a little bit of oil on the top. So I'm gonna keep doing this. I'm gonna say also for the gluten-free version, you can also use cornflakes. What you do is your old cornflakes, or even the cornflakes that you have every day in your breakfast, just blend them in your food processor. It will give you a beautiful crust, really crunchy. I actually really like it. When I lived in Australia, they used to sell that already made, but then I found that I could make it myself, and that's it's another great way to have your gluten-free option for the breading. You see here I'm doing 3 at a time. Now if I had my family helping me, or we will be working together, or we will be, there's 3 of us, so I will put someone in the flour, someone in the egg, and someone doing this coating of the breadcrumbs. I know that I'm not showing you anything new because I know many of you bread and do this thing. The good thing about these chicken nuggets is that you will feel the flavor of the lemon when you eat them, not being overpowering, and they will be really, really tender, really juicy, really nice. You see, once you try them, you will not buy them ever again. I know they're time consuming, but this is a nice weekend activity that you can do with your kids when we go back to our normal lives. All right. I'm gonna be serving these for lunch today, and I'm gonna serve them. I'm gonna make a mash. A potato mash. Lately, when I make mashed potato, for every 4 potatoes that I use, I put 1 zucchini. What I do is I peel the zucchini, and so the picky eaters won't see any green in there. And zucchini has such a subtle flavor that it's not gonna be it's not gonna change the taste of your mashed potato, and it's gonna make it a lot more softer, and you won't need to add as much liquid. And another thing that I've been doing a lot lately, because we have so many plant-based people around, people who eat plant-based food, is I use vegetable broth instead of any sort of milk. You could always use a plant-based milk or a non-dairy milk. Pardon me, if you have any dairy issues, but I find that with the broth it's really nice, and it also, I just add some salt, some herbs. Sometimes they taste very nice, a little bit of nutmeg, and then I finish it with a little bit of olive oil. So, that's a way that you can do it. And you will notice that you don't need as much liquid as if you only make it with potatoes. You see that I started putting these in here. This is the way you're going to do it when you're going to freeze them. So we're going to make like layers of it. And for every layer that you do, you cover with this paper again, and you do another layer. So as many layers as you can do. Then you obviously will wrap it. I like using a tea towel because again, I'm not a big fan of plastic, but it's entirely up to you. And then the next day, when they're all frozen, you get a container to put in your freezer or a bag. And because they're frozen, you can just put them all together, and then you will get them out as you need them. So, and they cook very well. They bake really well frozen as well. So all you need to do is maybe to to get them out as your oven is warming up, and then maybe you need to give them a couple of more minutes. So for those of you who have joined, we're making healthy homemade chicken nuggets. We had some chicken overnight soaking in milk and the juice of 1 lemon. That tenderizes your chicken and makes it really nice and juicy and gives it a really nice flavor. We have cut the breast lengthwise. We have sliced it to make sort of and we're having 2 trays. We've got 1 tray that is going to go in the oven and 1 tray that is going to be put in the freezer for a later use. So later on, you can do this at any time. This video I'll put it in my YouTube channel later on, so you can always go back to it, and you don't need to watch the whole thing. You can just choose whatever is the part that you prefer. And if you have forgotten anything that you want to remember it again. I've got a little... Okay, I have been thinking that I'm not sure what sort of class I'm going to do on Thursday. I know that I had a lot of reproduction of my video yesterday, but I didn't have as many people live as I expected to be. So I don't know if it's because most children now have classes and probably parents are taking advantage of that time to be doing their own work. So what I will ask you is if you could please tell me in comments in any of my social media platforms. I'm in Facebook, Instagram, I've got YouTube. You can go to my website, carmensorganickitchen.com, and send me a message. I would like to know if you would like me to change the time to a more convenient one that you think is going to work better for you. And what sort of food are you interested in? Because Easter is around the corner, and I think that for most of us, we're going to spend Easter at home. That doesn't mean we don't have to celebrate. I'm actually going to decorate my house, and I think I'm going to start this weekend. And I did a class last year in my school district class here where I live in the Bay Area, and I call it Easter sweets around the world. So we made hot cross buns, which are very popular in the Commonwealth countries. We also made a Spanish sweet called torrija, and then we also made curabieres, which are these beautiful biscuits or cookies from Greece. So I was thinking, if you're interested in anything like that, I was thinking of making this Thursday a very traditional recipe that my mom used to make on Easter time, and it brings me really fond memories. And it, again, very fun activity to do as a family, whether you have children or not. They're like little donuts made with orange flavor. Where I come from in the south of Spain, we have lots of orange. Orange is the whole streets are full of orange trees. And when I was there recently, the blossoms were already out and it was just beautiful. The smell of the orange blossom is something very close to my heart. So if you think that it will be nice, please let me know. So I get ready for it, because to make the class work live, I need to prepare a batch before. Okay, so let's go back to refresh what we've done so far. We have brushed the tray with olive oil. Now I will brush a little bit of olive oil over them just to put them in the oven. I'm not going to bake them now, as I said, that you'll do that in your own time. So we set 200 Celsius and 400 Fahrenheit, and you will bake them for 15 minutes completely. So you'll do 10 minutes on this side, and then after 10 minutes you flip them around and you do an extra 5 minutes. You will be amazed how delicious they are. They're actually really nice corn as well. I give these to my daughter as a lunch, in her school lunch a lot of times. So you can also use a spray, or maybe it's easier if you put a little bit of oil in a bowl and you just brush it through. So these are the ones that are going to go in the oven. Now these ones are the ones that I'm going to be putting in the freezer. What I will do is I will put a complete layer of chicken nuggets. When I finish, I will cover this with another paper, like something, in this case it will be something like this, right? And then I will wrap it, tea towel, plastic, whatever you like, put it in a bag. So you put it like this in your freezer. Tomorrow or later on tonight, when they're completely frozen, it doesn't matter where you put them, because they're not going to change, they're not going to stick together, so they're going to be really easy to use later on when you need them. So I had made from one standard organic chicken breast, I've made 2, 4, 6, 11 pieces, which is perfect for a couple of people. So these are great for lunch, dinner, for parties, for excursions, for lunch boxes. Very handy, much cheaper, much healthier, much better, more fun to make them than if you went and bought them in the store. And the most important thing, you know what they have in them. So I'm gonna leave it here. I'm just gonna remind you, for a gluten-free version, use any gluten-free flour that you have at home for the first step, or cornstarch or corn flour, which it actually works really well. For breadcrumbs, I'm sure that there's gluten-free breadcrumbs out there, but if they're not, if you eat gluten-free bread at home, let it dry, wrap it in a tea towel, let it dry, it will go hard, I imagine, and then blend it. Or cornflakes, your normal cornflakes, buy a good brand of organic cornflakes and blend them in your food processor for a bit until you get this texture, and that actually makes a beautiful crumb, really crispy, really, and it's got that little bit of salty flavor. It's really beautiful. And for a vegetarian version, instead of using chicken, you can use zucchini. The zucchini will bake only for 10 minutes and you will flip it 5 minutes later. Again, 200 Celsius, 400 Fahrenheit in your oven, already preheated, and you will do the same. I don't know if the zucchini freeze well, so I wouldn't try that, but for fresh, it will work. And if you want to make it completely plant-based or vegan, substitute the egg part of the crumbling for a plant-based milk that you may have at home, and it will work exactly the same. And you can even make that vegetarian or plant-based vegan version of using the zucchini gluten-free by using any of the gluten-free versions that I have given you. So I think I have covered every food preferences or food that you are following, that you like to eat at home. So I hope that you get a lot out of it. As I said, the video will go into my YouTube video and into my YouTube channel this afternoon. I'm gonna keep doing, but I'm gonna let you go so you don't get bored. I hope that you got a lot out of it. I just wanted to let you know, speaking about Easter again, before I come back on Thursday, I have a really nice book of Easter activities, craft activities to do with the children. So I'm planning to start sharing those in my stories here in Facebook and in my Instagram profile. And I hope that you get something out of them. And I invite you to start thinking what you're going to do for Easter and get the family involved. And either it doesn't matter, we're going to be at home. We can still celebrate and have a nice one. So stay home. Thank you, first of all, for coming and for watching and for supporting me. I know that I have a lot of new followers in the last week, and I am really, really, really thankful, and I feel really blessed. So welcome to all the new ones. Please go to my website, carmensorganickitchen.com, so you get to know a little bit more about me, who I am, what I do. And anyway, I don't want to keep talking, so please stay home, take care, and eat well and be happy. I'll see you hopefully Thursday. Bye.